Hello, everyone. Thank you for checking out this episode of Nerd Caliber. I'm here with the Utah Harley Quinn. We're going to talk about her amazing Harley Quinn cosplay. Thank you for taking the time to talk to us.
Oh, of course. Thank you
Uh,
for having me.
So this looks phenomenal. What can you tell
Thank
us
you.
about this cosplay?
Harley Quinn has always been a character that I've loved ever since I got into cosplay and like Batman and all that back in 2013. I was barely in my junior year of high school or so back then, and I saw the Dark Knight trailer and I was like, oh, what's this all about? And that's what got me into cosplay. And then I ended up finding the Harley Quinn character from all that. And I just fell in love with this is the kind of like her personality. I fell in love with how much she loved, but at the same time, like that also was her downfall. And I just loved her craziness, her playfulness, and I loved her Sue. And it was my first cosplay, and it's just I've upgraded from there.
Do you remember how old you were when you first when you first saw Harley Quinn?
Ooh, 2013. I was about 17.
Okay.
17. Yeah.
And what was it about the character that really drew you in into like her world and wanted to know more about her?
I think the fact that she was just so obsessed with the Joker that she was willing to do anything for him. I think I resonated with that because back then I was kind of, getting in and out of toxic relationships, and I just felt like I was a really loving person, and I just felt like I would do anything for the person I care about, and I would always end up getting hurt, but I would always forgive the other person. So I just really resonated with her character, and it's what really, really drew me into her.
Oh, okay. Well, let's talk a little bit about the costume. I love the makeup. What can you tell us about that?
Yeah, so I used Mayron makeup in Clown White, and I kind of did it super quickly. I used Juvia's red lipstick and just quick, what's the word for it? And now I forgot it. Eyelashes, the fake lashes. Wow, how did I forget that? Anyways, it's just a really easy, basic, simple makeup that when I actually first did it, I didn't have the mask. So I actually would paint it on with paint, and it looked really bad. I'll probably have to send you some photos of my first Harley Quinn cosplay compared to what it is now, because it's definitely gotten better. But this is probably the easiest makeup that I think any girl or any guy, anyone who wants to get into a first cosplay and they love the character. It's really easy, really like simple. On my Instagram page, I actually have a tutorial there highlighted for the makeup tutorial. But it's super easy, and I think it looks really nice despite like how simple it is. So
How do you
yeah,
keep? Do you have a way so that the makeup stays in place so that if anyone touches your face or you touch your face, it's
yeah.
still.
Should I actually get the products? Do you think I should grab
Oh,
them, or should I just
sure.
talk about them?
Oh yeah, if you want to grab them, that'd be great. If you have them
Okay, okay,
available.
let me get them real quick. All right. So I love giving credit when, it's not my product.
Mm.
So, all right. So what I use is the Mayron. And what I find that stays the best is I use the Ben Nye neutral setting powder. And after I dab on the makeup, I'll powder this on. And then I'll use a setting spray. And this time I use NYX Cosmetics. And yeah, it works. Here and then I'll probably have to dab it up every couple hours if I'm at a convention. But honestly, it works like super well, and I would highly recommend it.
Oh, okay. Does it take a long time to set all that up?
Not really. I guess it just depends on how familiar you are with putting on makeup. So I'll just grab a sponge, dab it on, and usually to cover my whole face, it'll take about, oh, I don't know. If I actually want to take time doing it, it can take me like 15 minutes because I'll usually do it twice to really keep it setted. And then to do the rest, it takes like 5 minutes.
Oh, okay. What can you tell us
Mm-hmm.
about the costume itself?
Yeah, so actually, I am horrible at sewing. My first cosplay is one that I tried to make myself, and it was really bad. So this is actually one I got made by another Harley Quinn and really amazing cosplayer on Instagram named, I believe her Instagram handle is still called Swooty Booty, and she makes amazing things. Like you guys should go check her out too. She's amazing, and she actually made my suit. And my camel is made by an Italian costumer on Etsy. She's called Sensu Clothing. It's a bit of a hard name, but yeah, they're the ones who made my costume. And this is actually from an online order back from like 2013 on Wish that I got lucky, and it was really nice product that I've had. So
Oh, okay. Now, every Harlequin cosplayer that I've talked to about the costume tends to complain to how really hot the costume can be. Like it could be really warm in there, and they have to be careful of being hydrated, make sure they're hydrated. Do you have
yes.
any? Do you have the same problems?
Yeah, so this suit is actually more of a pleather material. So it's the best way to describe it at a convention, it's like trying to put a rubber glove on while your hand is wet. It gets really hot and uncomfortable, and I can't wear it for very long. Like right now in this setting, I'm fine because I'm not moving around. It's not hot, but at a convention, it definitely isn't my go-to. I'll wear it, but I do have another Harley Quinn costume that's more of a cotton, softer material, breathable. So, but it definitely looks good in photos, and it looks good, so it's worth it.
Oh, okay. What do you do to practice for posing for photos? Is there certain like episodes that you try to emulate? Is there certain things in the comic book you try to emulate? What are your sources and ideas behind that?
Yeah. So, I mean, I binge watched all of Batman the Animated Series. I would read all the comics that involved Harley Quinn. Anything that involved Harley Quinn, basically, I had watched and researched for during all those years that I was really getting into the fandom. And that's kind of where I've kind of copied my poses and kind of my face and like my personality, when I cosplay. So it's just from remembering back to all the things I've watched and read and seen, like not growing up because I haven't really grown up on it. I mean, I just got into it, but yeah. And then I've also looked up on like Google, like modeling poses because those do help sometimes. But usually I'll look back at comic book pictures of her posing or Batman animated series.
Oh, okay. What would you say are the biggest differences between what when you first cosplayed to how your cosplay is now of Harley Quinn?
Well, I've definitely gotten a lot more confident in my character and in my costume and in basically just me cosplaying in general. When I first started, I was really awkward and not so sure of myself. I felt kind of uncomfortable in costume, and even though I liked doing it, I loved dressing up, I still wasn't like very comfortable in it. And it wasn't until the years went by that I finally started getting more comfortable. And I mean, I started working more and I was able to upgrade from there and finally got it to where I do like it, but I still plan on improving from here.
If someone comes up to you and says that they want to cosplay Harley Quinn but they don't know where to start, what would you advise them to do? Where would you advise them to go check out?
I would definitely tell them to watch Batman the Animated Series first because that's what I did to first learn about the character. I binge watched it all, and then I would start just watching her episodes and really like reading, like getting her mannerisms like in, and like I started practicing her voice and like the way she would act and talk. And then from there, once I was done watching that, I would go on like YouTube and look up anything that was like Harley Quinn related that I could back then. I would watch other cosplayers. I would get their tips, and that's kind of how I learned, just by watching the shows, reading the comics. Any comic that Harley was in, I would read it. Even if it wasn't like part of a series I was reading, I would still read it just because, hey, I love this character. I want to know more about her. And honestly, I would just tell him to do that. I would tell him to do what I did because that's how I learned how to be Harley.
Everyone has their favorite ship. Who is your favorite ship when it comes to Harlequin?
So I know there's a lot of hate going on for this, but I am still a Joker Harley fan. I do not agree with abusive relationships at all. But the reason I got into Batman and all this and Harley Quinn was because she was made to be the Joker's girlfriend. So that's what really drew me to her character because I was like, who is this character's girlfriend? Like, who would be crazy enough to be with the Joker? So I've always loved their silly romps, all the things they've done in animated series and their early comic appearances. Like, I love it. I love their characters, but I know it's not very popular now. I know Ivy and Harley is more popular now, but I will always remain a Joker Harley girl.
Okay, excellent. No, there's no judgment, especially from their caliber. Um, so before we wrap up, where can people find more of your work online?
Yeah, so right now my main page is on Instagram. You can find me at the Utah Harley Quinn. That's where I'm mainly mostly active. I also have a Facebook page also called the Utah Harley Quinn. I don't post there as often as my Instagram. And they do have an old YouTube channel that like I didn't even want to bring up because some of the videos made me cringe, unfortunately, because it was back in the years. But I have thought about bringing it back up and maybe eventually doing more videos again, getting more into cosplay. And when con season can safely reopen, I plan on doing videos there. So who knows? But right now, the main one is Instagram. So check it out.
Okay, and where can people find it on Instagram?
My page at the Utah Harley Quinn. It's my cosplay page.
Okay, all right, excellent.
Mhm.
Thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us about this. I
Of
really appreciate
course.
your time and sharing some of the secrets behind the mask.
Yeah. Thank
And
you. Thanks for having me. Like I was so excited to do this, and I'm so glad. I'm so glad we could finally do it.
oh, same here, same here. So to our viewers out there, thank you for watching. Stay tuned for more cosplay content and have a safe day. Be careful out there.